Hello everyone, welcome to today's session of your ATT classes. As it is a very first class and I am going to take composite materials. Okay, so these are the contents which is related to bricks. So at first I am going to teach you about bricks in detail. Okay, so whatever the study is there related to bricks, so everything we are going to study in this heading. Okay, so these are the different contents related to brick theory. First is constituents of good brick earth. Okay, so what are the different constituents of brick? So we will study this first. After this, harmful ingredients in brick. Okay, so what are the different harmful ingredients which will affect to the quality of brick? So this is the second topic that we are going to study under this heading. Next is manufacture of brick. Okay, how we manufacture the brick? So what is the process of manufacturing the brick? Next is classification of bricks as per common practice. Here two types of classification are there. One is as per common practice and another one is as per constituent materials. Okay, so what are the different constituents of materials which is used to manufacture the brick? So according to that, there is one classification that we will study. Another classification is related to common practice. Then after that, we will study what are the different tests which can be conducted on the brick. So these are the different headings under the topic of bricks. So this we are going to study each and every topic in detail. Okay. Okay. So first heading is constituents of good brick earth. Okay, if you say a brick is of a good quality, then what are the different constituents that it should have? So first, let us see what is brick. After that, we'll go to constituents. So bricks are the most commonly used construction material. Okay, so what is brick? Brick, it is the most commonly used construction material. So you people might already knowing what is brick. Okay, it is used in the construction for the construction of wall. Okay, so wall is one of the very important constituent in the construction. Okay, one of the very important part in the construction of wall. So there are different types, different materials which can be used for the construction of wall. Like with the help of RCC also we can construct the wall. But usually, most commonly, we will construct the wall with the help of brick. Right? So hence this brick is a most commonly used construction material. So bricks are prepared by molding clay in rectangular blocks of uniform size, then drying and burning these blocks. In order to get good quality bricks, the brick earth should contain the following constituents. Okay, so these are the different constituents of good brick earth. So before that, let us see this definition. So these bricks are prepared by molding clay. Okay, so what we will be having, the clay will be there. Okay, so this what we'll do with this clay? This clay will be put into the rectangular blocks. Okay, so we will be having rectangular blocks. Okay, like this rectangular blocks will be there. So in that blocks, we will put the clay. Okay, we will put the clay, then we will take it out. When we'll take it out that clay, so it will take the shape of that rectangular block. Okay, so that rectangular block is called as mold. Okay, that rectangular block is called as mold. Okay, so molding, you might have heard about mold. So if you put any material into any mold, so that material will take the shape of that mold. For example, I can explain you with ice cube mold. Okay, in your home you might have seen fridge. Okay, fridge will be there. In it, each everyone might be having fridge in your homes. So in the fridge you will be having ice cube tray. Okay, ice cube tray will be there. So in that ice cube tray, if you put the water and keep it in the freezer, then when your water becomes ice, it will take the shape of that ice cube tray. Okay, in that ice cube tray, small cube shaped this one will be there. So when you put the water in that, that water will become ice and it will take the shape of that tray. So here that ice cube tray is called as mold for preparing ice cube by water. So same thing here. With the help of clay, we will put this clay into the rectangular blocks, and that clay will take the shape of that rectangular block. So that rectangular block is called as mold. Okay. So these blocks will be of uniform size. Okay. So these rectangular blocks will be having the uniform size. That size is nothing but the size of brick. Okay. So that it is called as, it will be having the size of brick. Okay. So when you take out that clay out of that rectangular block or out of that mold, then you will dry it. Okay. So first is molding. In that molding, the clay will take the shape of that mold. After that, we take out the clay and we will keep it for drying. So after drying, we will burn it. When you burn it, then your brick will be ready. Understood? So in order to get a good quality of brick, the brick earth should contain the following constituents. Okay. So that brick, what I said, it will be prepared by clay. Okay. So that clay will be having this following constituents. First is silica, alumina, lime, iron oxide, and magnesia. Okay. So these are the different constituents of good quality of brick. Understood? So what is brick? So brick is a most commonly used construction material, and these bricks are prepared by molding clay in the rectangular blocks. Okay. So here we are having the rectangular blocks of bricks, standard brick size. In that rectangular blocks, we are putting the clay, and that clay will take the shape of that rectangular block. And after that, after taking out that clay, it will be having a shape of brick. Okay, standard size brick. So then it will be dried and it will be burnt. Then your brick will be ready. Okay. So different constituents of brick are silica, alumina, lime, iron oxide, and magnesia. Okay. So these are the different constituents. Now let us study these different constituents now. So the first one is silica. Okay. So brick earth should contain about 50 to 60% of silica. Okay. In overall material constituents of brick, around 50 to 60% will be silica. Okay. 50 to 60% will be silica. It is responsible for preventing cracking, shrinkage, warping of raw bricks. Okay. So if silica is present in the brick, it will prevent the cracking of bricks. Okay. The presence of silica in the raw brick means what? Before burning. Okay. Before burning of the brick, it is called as raw brick. Okay. So in the raw brick, silica will be responsible for avoiding the crack. It will avoid the shrinkage of brick. Shrinkage means what? Reduction in the volume. Okay. So it will avoid the cracking, it will avoid the shrinkage, and it will avoid the warping. So what is warping? Warping is nothing but means your shape of the brick may get changed. Okay. So it will avoid the brick to get changed with its shape. Okay. So the presence of silica prevents the cracking, shrinkage, and warping. So it is present in the brick around 50 to 60%. Okay. It also affects the durability of brick. If present in excess, then it destroys the cohesion between the particles and the brick becomes brittle. Okay. So the quantity of silica in the brick is 50 to 60%. Okay. So within this range only the silica should be present. If this range exceeds, okay, so this 50 to 60% which range is there for the silica in the brick, if this range increases than this limit, then what will happen? It will destroy the cohesion between the particles. What do you mean by cohesion? Cohesion is nothing but the adhesive property between the materials. This one, not material, between the molecules of the material. Okay, between every small particle, there will be cohesion, means it will stick to each other. So that sticking property to each other will get destroyed if silica is present in more amount. Okay, so this is about silica. Okay, the first ingredient in the brick, it is present in 50 to 60%. It is responsible to prevent the cracking, shrinkage, and warping. Then it affects the durability. If it is present in more amount, then it destroys the cohesion between the particles and the brick becomes brittle. Okay, next is alumina. Okay, next in constituent is alumina. Okay, a good brick earth should contain about 20 to 30% of alumina. Okay, alumina should be present in the quantity of 20 to 30%. It is responsible for plasticity characteristic of earth, which is important in molding operation. Okay, so you know what is plasticity, right? Plasticity is nothing but, if suppose any material is there, okay, suppose this kind of a material is there, like this one material is there, if you press from the top, okay, if you press from the top, what will happen? It will increase in length, okay, and the thickness will reduce. You might be knowing the difference between plasticity and elasticity. Okay, elasticity and plasticity both are different. In elasticity, what will happen? If any material is there, elastic material is there, if you pull it, okay, if you pull it from both the sides, what will happen? It will increase in length. Okay, if you pull elastic material, it will increase in length, but when you leave it, it will go back to its original length. Okay, it will go back to its original length or original shape. Okay, whereas plasticity is not like that. If you pull a plastic material, okay, if you pull a plastic material from both the sides, it will increase in length, but when you leave it, it will not go back to its original length. It will remain how it was when you have pulled it. So that is the plasticity. Understood? So same thing is there here. When you put the earth into the mold, okay, earth in the sense that clay material. So what will happen? That clay will take the shape of that mold. Okay. So this property of plasticity is very much important in molding operation. Okay. So this property or this characteristic is very important in molding. Okay. If alumina is present in excess, what will happen? Then the raw brick will shrink, warp during the drying. Okay, if the alumina content is more than 30%, if it is present in more than 30%, what will happen? The raw brick, okay, raw brick, it will shrink, means the shape and size of that brick will get changed. Okay, next is lime. Okay, the percentage of lime should be in the range of 5 to 10%. Okay, the percentage of lime, it should be in the range of 5 to 10% in a good quality of brick earth. Okay, it prevents the shrinkage of brick on drying. When the brick is drying, it will avoid the shrinkage in the brick. It causes silica in clay to melt on burning and thus helps to bind it. Okay, so the presence of lime in the brick causes silica in the clay to melt. Okay, so whatever the clay is there, in that clay silica is present. Because of this lime, okay, because of presence of lime, this silica gets melt. Okay, so it melts when you are burning it. Okay, when you are burning, during the burning, this silica gets melt, and when it is melting, it helps to bind the material of the brick. Okay, excess of lime causes the brick to melt, and the brick loses its shape. Okay, if this lime is present in more amount, okay, if lime is present in more quantity, what will happen? It will causes the brick to melt. The whole brick itself will melt and it will loses its shape. Okay, when the brick is melting, when you are burning it, then it will loses its shape. Okay, so lime should be present in the range of 5 to 10%. Next, iron oxide. A good brick earth should contain 5 to 7% of iron oxide. Okay, so this iron oxide should be present in the range of 5 to 7%. Okay, it gives red color to the brick. Okay, you have seen bricks in red color. So that red color is because of presence of iron oxide. Okay, so this is the important thing to remember. The color of brick is red because of the presence of iron oxide. Okay, and it is present in the range of 5 to 7%. Okay, so because of iron oxide, the bricks get red color. Okay, red color is because of iron oxide. It improves impermeability and durability. Okay, so these two are very good, very important characteristics of brick: impermeability and durability. So durability, you know, durability is nothing but the life of brick. Okay, it is because it is the life of brick. So, and impermeability, you might be knowing. Okay, you know permeability, right? If suppose suppose this is a brick. Okay, if suppose this is a brick, if you put water on the top, okay, if you allow the water to stand on the top surface of this brick, okay, suppose there is a water here. Okay, water is standing on the top of the brick. So what will happen? This water will penetrate into the brick, okay, and it will pass through the brick and it will come down. Okay, it will come down. So this is called as permeability. Okay, so when you put the water from the top, it is passing through the material and it is coming down, then it is called as permeability. And impermeability is opposite of that. Okay, impermeable is nothing but it is not allowing the water to pass through it. Okay, it is not allowing the water to pass through it. So if you want to say a brick is of good quality, then it should be impermeable. Okay, it should be impermeable and it should have good durability. Okay, so presence of iron oxide, it improves the impermeability and durability. Okay, next, it gives strength and hardness. Okay, strength and hardness of the brick is because of iron oxide present in it. If present in excess, then the color of brick becomes dark blue or blackish. Okay, range of this iron oxide is 5 to 7%. If more than this range is there, okay, if iron oxide is present in more than this range, what will happen? The color of the brick becomes dark blue or blackish. Okay, dark blue or blackish. After burning, if you see the brick is of dark blue color or blackish color, then you can say that it is because of more amount of iron oxide. Okay, it is because of more amount of iron oxide. Okay, so if it is present in the normal range, it will give red color. Okay, if it is in normal range, it gives red color. Now, if the quantity of iron oxide is comparatively less, then the brick becomes yellowish in color. Okay, if the range is less, if the presence of iron oxide is less than requirement, then it gives yellow color, yellowish color. Okay, so remember these three. If the amount of iron oxide is less, it gives yellowish color. If it is in proper range, that is 5 to 7%, it gives red color. If it is present in more amount, then it will give dark blue color or blackish color. Okay, Next is magnesia. Good brick earth should contain less a small quantity of magnesia, that is about 1%. Okay, so the requirement of magnesia in the good brick earth is only 1%. Only 1% of the magnesia is required. Magnesium in brick earth imparts yellow tint to the brick. Okay, it will give a shade of yellow tint color. It is responsible for reducing the shrinkage. Okay, so magnesia is also responsible for the reduction in the shrinkage of brick. Excess of magnesia leads to the decay of brick. Okay, if the magnesia is present in more amount than the requirement, it will decay the brick. Okay, it will decay the brick. Okay, so these are the different constituents. So we have studied all these constituents: silica, alumina, lime, iron oxide, and magnesia. Okay, so you should remember the ranges of all these constituent materials also. Silica 50 to 60%, alumina 20 to 30%, lime 5 to 10%, iron oxide 5 to 7%, and magnesia is about 1%. Okay, you should remember all these things, in how much range is present, and if it increases in quantity than the requirement, what will happen? If it reduces, what will happen? And which constituent is responsible for which property? Okay, so these all things you should remember about bricks or constituents of bricks. Okay, now let us see some of the harmful ingredients in bricks. Okay, so this is our second topic. So we have done with the first one, right? Here we had seen first one, that is constituents of good brick earth. So we have studied this now. This is completed. So next topic is harmful ingredients. Second topic, harmful ingredients in the brick. Okay. Below mentioned are some of the ingredients which are undesired in the brick earth. Okay, so these are the undesired, means it is not required for the brick. If it is present, then what will happen? It will give the bad effects to the brick. Okay, so here first comes lime. So we have studied this lime in the ingredients, okay, in the constituents. Now again it has come in the harmful constituents or harmful ingredients. Why? Because lime is required. Lime is one of the constituent of brick, but it must be present in the required amount. Okay, it must be present in the required amount. If the same lime, if it is increases in the range than the requirement, it will become harmful. Okay, if it is present in more than requirement, then it will become a harmful ingredient. Okay, a small quantity of lime is required in the brick earth, but if present in excess, okay, if it is present in excess, that causes the brick to melt, and hence brick loses its shape. Okay, so in how much amount we need the lime, in that much amount only it should be present. If it is present in more amount than the requirement, what it will make? It will make the brick to melt. Okay, it will make the brick to melt, and if the brick is melting, then what will happen? That brick will loses its shape. Okay, the shape of that brick will get lost. If lime is present in the form of lumps, okay, lumps means you can understand small lumps like this, round, or in whichever shape. If the lime is present in the form of this, like pebbles like structures, then it is converted to a quicklime after burning. Okay, so this lumps of the lime will get converted into quicklime, okay, during burning. This quicklime slate and expands in presence of moisture, causing the splitting of brick into pieces. Okay, so what will happen? These lumps of lime are there, no? these lumps of lime will get converted into quicklime during the burning. Okay, when we are burning the brick, in that stage, these lumps will get converted into quicklime. Then later on, these quicklime lumps, it will absorb the moisture. Okay, it is present in between the brick now. Okay, it is present in between the brick. So later on, when it absorbs the moisture. Okay, so these lumps will absorb the moisture. When it absorbs the moisture, it will increase in size. Okay, so these lumps will increase in size. Okay, so this quicklime is present in between the brick now. So when it increases in size, what will happen? It will give a pressure on all the sides. Okay, when it is increasing in size, it will create the pressure on the surrounding. Okay, so this will lead to the splitting of brick. Okay, it will lead to the splitting of brick into pieces, or otherwise it will give the cracks to the brick. Okay, your brick will get cracks because of presence of lumps of lime. Understood? So the presence of lime should be in the required range only. Okay, so next harmful ingredient is iron pyrites. Okay, so what are these iron pyrites now? The presence of iron pyrites in brick earth causes the brick to get crystallized and disintegrated during the burning because of the oxidation of iron pyrites. Okay, so what will happen if there is a presence of iron pyrites? Okay, this is also one of the harmful ingredient in the brick. If the iron pyrites are present in the brick, what will happen? It will get crystallized or it will disintegrate. Okay, when it disintegrates, it will disintegrate the brick. Okay, so during the burning, because of oxidation of the iron pyrites, when these iron pyrites are present, and when you are burning the brick, that iron pyrites will get oxidized. Okay, these iron pyrites will get oxidized, and it will get crystallized. Then the brick will get crystallized. Okay, these pyrites will discolorize the brick. Okay, presence of this iron pyrites, it will discolorize the brick. Third harmful ingredient is alkali. Okay, third harmful ingredient is alkalis. These exist in the brick earth in the form of soda and potash. Okay, alkalis are present in the brick in the form of soda or potash. It acts as flux in the kiln during burning, and it causes the brick to fuse, twist, and warp. Because of this, bricks are melted and they lose their shape. Okay, so what will happen is alkalis are present in the brick in the form of soda or potash. Okay, it is present in the form of soda or potash, and these alkalis act as a flux. Okay, so these alkalis will act as a flux in the bricks. Okay, so when you burn it, okay, when you are burning the brick and alkalis are present in the brick in the form of soda and potash, so when you are burning, what will happen? It causes the brick to fuse, it will twist, and it will warp. Warp means, I have told you, it will bend and it will change the shape. It is related to shape of the brick. Okay, then the brick will get twisted, then it will fuse. Okay, as I have told you, it acts as a flux. Flux is nothing but a flow. Okay, flux is nothing but it is related to flow. When you are burning it, it will flow. Okay, soda and potash will act as a like when you are burning it, it will melt and flow. Okay, so then it will lead to the change in the shape of the brick. Okay, it will lead to the change in the shape of the brick. Okay, so because of this, bricks are melted and they lose their shape. So if the alkalis are present in the bricks in the form of soda and potash. So what will happen when you are burning the brick? Okay, in the manufacturing process, when you are burning the brick, during the burning, your brick will get fused, it will twist, and it will change in its shape. Okay, the alkalis remaining in brick will absorb moisture from the atmosphere when the bricks are used in the machinery. Okay,